Live.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to the April 5th Town of CBS Public Council meeting. We're back virtual again this week, and we'll do so as safety requires. First off tonight, we've got adoption of the agendas and minutes. So adoption of the meeting agenda for tonight, April 5th, 22nd. Councillor Hillier has moved it. Councillor Barrett has seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adoption of the meeting minutes of March the 15th, 3 weeks ago. Motion,
So moved.
Councillor Tilley, seconded by Councillor Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now we're going to move into a new business. I do not believe we don't have any presentations, no petitions, no visitors, unfortunately. And the business from the previous minutes will be dealt with as we go forward. So new business tonight, we're going to start with Deputy Mayor Andrea Goss.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. So I'm going to be quick this evening. I just want to bring some recognition to a big birthday in the community. Last week on March the 26th, there was a 100th birthday in our community. And what's even more amazing, this lady turned 100, but she has a twin sister, and she also turned 100. So they're both alive and well. And the lady is Mabel Daw, and her sister is Alice Clark. And they were born in Paradise, but Mabel came to CBS. Alice still lives in Paradise, and they are very close. They have a very close bond. They talk to each other most every day. I had a conversation with the granddaughter of Mabel Daw, and she said that Nan and her sister, they speak to each other most every day. They have regular visits. They kept in touch all through COVID. They both love to knit. They got a great sense of humor. And they both, amazingly, they both still live in their own homes. They're with the support and care of their families. She's in for their age. They're both still pretty independent, and apparently Mrs. Mabel Daw still does most of her own work around the house. And the two ladies, these two sisters, get together every second month at one of their houses, and someone comes in and does their hair. So they look after themselves, and they share in that every second month. Apparently, they are full of lots of great stories. The granddaughter Joy says she said they're absolute pleasure to be around. They have very sharp minds, and she said the families feel truly blessed. And so I just thought that I would bring greetings from the town of CBS, birthday greetings, and bring to everyone's attention that these two lovely ladies were 100 years old, twin sisters, on March the 26th. They were born March 26, 1922. And that's my happy news for the community this week.
Well, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. And I had the pleasure to sign a couple of certificates for the sisters today that was initiated by Councillor Christine Butler. And Councillor Butler, I'm going to turn over to you. But again, I want to wish these ladies a very happy 100th birthday on behalf of the town of CBS.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks, Andrea. That was a wonderful tribute to both the twins there. And I had touched base with Joy about trying to do something special for the two ladies. So the mayor and the town done up certificates, and I will be picking them up and touching base with Joy to get them delivered somehow or other. We'll get a picture taken, that kind of a thing. So that's delightful. Certainly is. And I'm not sure if she might be the oldest one in CBS. And maybe it might be nice if someone in the town knows different, a resident has someone who's older or birthdays like that, and just let us know, please. We really would like to hear from you. I have a couple of things to do with my committee here, Mayor. Tourism working groups and Year of the Garden committees. As you may all be aware, we've recently released a call to community members to join one of our 3 tourism working groups, as well as our Year of the Garden committee. We have seen the successes when the community are engaged with town initiatives, such as the Community Garden Committee, our Tourism Committee, and many others. The pride that exists among our residents for our community is heartwarming, and while residents have answered our call to our tourism working groups and Year of the Garden committees, there is always room for more. 2022 will be a busy one with the recent national proclamation of Year of the Garden and June 18th as Garden Day in Conception Bay South, as well as our confirmed participation in the Communities in Bloom initiative this year. Conception Bay South has a lot to celebrate and be proud of. Council is looking forward to working with our residents and businesses to strive to be the best and we can be for all to enjoy. And I'm looking forward to it also. And just want to remind residents of our calendar of events. I think we try and do that very often, just so as to make sure residents are quite aware. Community groups, sports organizations can use our online calendar of events free of charge to be listed on our website. Submitting your events takes only minutes by filling out online event submission form found on the town's website. And if anyone doesn't know how that works or would like to contact me if they don't know, I'm familiar with the website, they can certainly do so, and I'll be pleased to help them out. And that's all, Your Worship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Yes, that's right. Our calendar is there for all to use, and it's a great thing to share your events with everyone in town. Next up, Councillor Shelley Moores.
Thank you, Mayor Ben. I just want to bring everyone's attention to a couple things. First off, the Sergeant Ned Nugent State Dog Park will be closed for minor maintenance this Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So just so that everyone's aware of that. And on another note, we go from dogs to children. I just want to let everyone know that our summer day camp registration opens on May 19th at 6 p.m. for CBS residents and for non-residents on May 25th at 6 p.m. So just a little something for the dogs and the kids in the town. Some important information. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moores. I think you've hit every single demographic in town when you talk about dogs and children. So it affects everybody. Councillor Connors, next up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one thing tonight, I just wanted to say that I'm pleased that at committee the whole meeting we discussed the new provincial ATV regulations. I'm happy to report that the enforcement and admin committee are going to review the new provincial regulations, and because I think it's important that the town adopt regulations which are aligned with the new act, so our residents are not confused by what is stated in the act and what is allowed in our town. I've been contacted by numerous law-abiding ATV users who only want to be able to legally use their bike in the town without fear of breaking the law or losing their bike. It is important that we adopt the regulations that complement the new provincial act, so there's no uncertainty for our residents. And that's it for me tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Connors. Yes, and we are going to do a great piece of work over the next little while regarding that, because these new regulations from the province will affect users and non-users, and access areas and so forth could affect a number of neighborhoods and areas, and we need to make sure that we have that information as the regulations are released and ready to go with that for getting information out to our residents. So thank you, Councillor Connors. I know you're serving as the council rep on the ATV committee that has, I guess, met periodically and is going to meet again this week and is doing its work, and wish you well in that effort to move the ATV issue forward, and we get some resolution in some areas that have been questioned over the past few years, for sure. Thanks, Councillor Connors. Councillor Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship, a couple of items. Getting back to Councillor Butler's mention of the Year of the Garden, looking forward to getting out into the garden, but last couple of evenings, freezing rain on the tulips sort of slow you down a little bit. A couple of items other than that, Your Worship. Last week, we had an opportunity to get out in public for one of the few times we've been able to do in the last 2 years for our Athlete of the Year and Hall of Fame presentations. And I want to congratulate all of those who were winners, but certainly thank all of those who were involved with selection committees and organizing that event. It was a lovely evening, and I think everybody enjoyed themselves. The second thing, people may have noticed as they go up and down and through KDA's turn that steel is starting to go up at the library. And I know it's been a long time coming, and as a result of COVID, but there's been a problem with procurement of steel. But as of this week, our steel was delivered, and workers are there over the last couple of days, very, very busy putting up the girders, and we're certainly looking forward to when that building opens. Finally, Your Worship, something that is, I guess, not as positive, and that's concern over vandalism that we experienced this week at our community park. Unfortunately, people who do these things, there will always be a few of those with us, certainly a very small minority, but certainly a matter of nuisance nevertheless. My concern, Your Worship, is giving these people the attention that they're looking for by posting photos on social media. And that's what happened this time around. And I ask people who discover this kind of stuff not to post to social media, but certainly just contact the town or contact one of your councillors, and we'll look after it from there. Because by posting it, all we're doing is giving these miscreants positive feedback on the things that they're doing on our properties. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Hillier. Yeah, and I'm going to speak a little bit about that in a few minutes as well. Councillor Barrett, you're up.
Thank you, Your Worship. And Councillor Hillier touched on a couple of my points, but just to reiterate a couple pieces, yeah, it was lovely to get out there last week and with the awards, the Sports and Recreation Award ceremony. We had a great turnout, and thank all the certainly congratulations to all the nominees and all the award winners. Thanks to all the volunteers that have made that happen, and also our staff that pulled that off. They've been creative over the past couple of years to try to put together some virtual content, but I know they're chomping at the bit to really put together some more in-person events, and I hope we have a good summer of that. And the only other thing I'll mention is that the town they're still looking for students to fill their summer jobs. There's opportunities to work for the town of CBS during the summertime. Deadline to apply is April 11th, and there's a number of different roles, whether recreation, special events, camp counselors, working at Topsail Beach, lots of different opportunities. So if you're a student in Conception Bay South, certainly encourage you to check that out. It's all online. The details are there, and it is up until April 11th. So that is it for me. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Barrett. And of course, all the residents will agree I've left the best for last. Councillor Tilley, you're up.
That's 2 meetings in a row now, Your Worship. I don't mind. I don't mind being called the best.
I know you can anchor, you see.
Oh,
Brad Gushu doesn't throw the first stones, throws the last ones.
no, for sure. Just a couple of points. I got a few issues on Public Works, but I'll certainly bring them up when I speak to the motions from our Public Works Committee. As Councillor Barrett just alluded to, a big shout out to all of our folks who were inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame, and of course all those individuals who were nominated and won the awards in the individual sports awards. It was a great evening, and it's great to see that we got such wonderful talent in Conception Bay South. As well, I'd like to take this time to pass along, I guess, thanks and congratulations to both our junior and senior hockey clubs. Both teams had a very successful year. Both made it to second round in the playoffs, and unfortunately, they got knocked out respectively. But it's definitely great entertainment, and it's great to see hundreds of people in the stands when these teams come and play in Conception Bay South. So our hats off to those teams, and we wish them all the best in future years.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. So I've got just 3 or 4 little things that I wanted to talk about. But first of all, I want to address the matter that Councillor Hillier spoke about earlier, and that is the vandalism that happened at our community park, which is under construction. once in a while, something happens that leaves you sort of shocked and disappointed at the same time. And the site of the town's new community park was hit over the weekend, and it seems again yesterday, under the cloak of darkness, someone or someone's decided to deface some of the equipment and the structures on the site. And this is not completely unusual. It happens from time to time in different communities, vandalism and so forth. But over the past couple of days, a level of depravity that I have never witnessed in our town has shown itself in the vandalism at this new park, a new family park for children. The words and the symbols left by whoever are the actions, I feel, of cowardice and ignorance at the highest level. And in fact, these are hate crimes, and we have involved the RNC because of it. The actions display an absolute ignorance of the level of hate and hurt that these words and symbols represents, and they have no place in our community, and we condemn them. Yes, this is a crime by a person or people who know exactly the type of response the actions will generate. As Councillor Hillier pointed out earlier, that this was done maliciously and without regard for the damage or the hurt revisited. We have responded swiftly to have this removed and continue to work on the damage caused, but this was also done with absolutely no regard for the taxpayers of our town and you and I, who ultimately have to pay the bill for the cleanup and the repair work. We have told the RNC that we believe that this is a hate crime and should be investigated as such. And as a town, we'll cooperate with that investigation in any way we can. And I want to finish by saying that I want to remind residents that this park is under construction. It's a construction zone and is not yet open to the public at this time. And I ask people to refrain from entering the site for their safety as the work continues. This wonderful park will be open to the public in late summer if everything remains on schedule. And in the meantime, now we're placing some new signage in the area to make sure that that's perfectly clear to anybody that may want to go down in that area. And in the meantime, our enforcement will be doing extra shifts in the area and working with the RNC to ensure that this doesn't continue. On a more positive note, I want to say that, yes, it was great, as Councillor Hillier pointed out, to get out to some events for a change, because it's been a long time since we've had the chance to gather, even with our own council, in public to talk about or to meet with the residents and to celebrate some of the awards, like the sports awards we had this past week and the Hall of Fame inductions. Fantastic event. I had the pleasure of being out at the Studio 5 Artists event that they held at Worsley Park a couple of weekends ago. A great event. Local artists gather there and show the work that they've done. It's just fantastic representations of our town and other areas that they do, and the level of talent. I'm always astounded by the level of artistic talent that we have in our town, and it's great. Thank you to Tess Abbott and Tess Crosby, and all the others that worked to get this event going this year. It had been off for a couple of years, so it was great to have them back at Worsley Park. Also, myself, along with Councillors Hillier and Councillor Hardy, attended a vigil for the people of Ukraine at Topsail United Church a week or so ago, and it was a fantastic event. I want to thank Reverend Kathy Brett for organizing the event. I believe it was live on Facebook that night as well, and there was a member of the Ukrainian community there to talk about his experiences and the family and the people that he knows in the Ukraine now and their experiences. A very moving event, and I want to thank Her Honor the Lieutenant Governor for being in attendance and speaking elegantly about the plight of the people in the Ukraine. And of course, here in Conception Bay South, we're proud to fly the Ukrainian flag in support of the people of Ukraine. And I spoke that night that there was just over 3 million Ukrainians forced from their homes to be refugees in a foreign country. And now the number is over 4 million. And I just want to say that we just need to remember that these 4 millions and refugees and these words are not indicative of what we're talking about. We're talking about people who had lives just like you and me that have been ripped from them through no fault of their own and forced away from their homes and their lives and the events that their children took part in and their work and everything else. That they're human beings, they're people and individuals, and it may be possible that some of them, through refugee efforts by our province, may end up in Newfoundland and Labrador, and some of them may end up in Conception Bay South. And I look forward to being able to welcome anyone that comes here from the Ukraine looking for the peace that they deserve through this. One other thing, I think it's one other thing. Yes, it is one other thing I want to mention, and this is throw a bouquet out to one of our own staffers. I received a notice from the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, and they are congratulating, and we're congratulating. We're going to join them in congratulating a long service recognition of 20 years in the employment in a municipal government in a management capacity of our very own town clerk, Gail Pomeroy. She has been recognized by the CAMA for her long efforts and her work here at the town, and the efforts that she has made as a town clerk, as one of the top people with the town, administrators with the town, our representative and our liaison for municipal affairs, works on so many different committees and oversees elections. And I could go on for a long time about the duties that a town clerk performs, one of the top roles in any municipality. So I want to thank Gail Pomeroy for her efforts and congratulate her on the 20 years and her recognition from the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators. And I'm told that they said they got something in the mail for you. And I think I see you there, Gail. We don't usually see the staff during these meetings. So congratulations, Gail. Fantastic, and all the best. And I'm glad to be able to bring that to the attention of our residents tonight. So
Thank you very much.
There you go. All right. So with that being said, on a very positive note, I'm going to turn things over now to the Planning and Development Committee Chair, Rex Hillier, to get the business of the day underway.
Yes, Your Worship. These are recommendations brought forward from our March 21st committee meeting. We've got 7 there, I believe. Number 5A, 251 Fowlers Road. Be it so resolved that in accordance with section 15C of the town's fence regulations, application number 1281 received on February 23rd, 2022 for a fence along the side property boundary within the adjoining driveway of the front yard at 251 Fowlers Road be approved with a maximum height of 0.6 meters. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Barrett, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded? Carried.
So I'm running a little bit slow here.
Oh, no worries.
It is slow. I haven't gotten the vote yet. I haven't seen come up.
Yeah, mine has frozen a couple times too.
Of mine.
Gotta love
Okay.
technology.
Well, we've done it orally, Councillor Hillier. I'm not sure if you're able to access the next.
Okay, I've got my next one.
Oh, I just see the voting going on there now. There we go.
Be it so resolved that in accordance with section 15D of the town's fence regulations, application number 1293 received on March 2nd, 2022 for a fence along the side property boundary in the front yard at 3537 Clooney's Road be approved with a maximum height of 1.2 meters. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Butler. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded?
Your Worship, just a note on these last two. Normally, staff deal with fence permits, but in both of these cases, they were for side yard fences, and normally that's a discretionary decision that comes to committee, as these did. And because there are fences in the neighborhood similar to what these people are applying for, we've agreed to go ahead with these two requests.
Okay, and that's approved, Councillor Hillier, so you can move to the next one.
Yes, Your Worship. Number 7, Kingsway Drive. Be it so resolved that in accordance with sections 6 and 8 of the town's commercial motor vehicle regulations, application number 1312, received on March 1st, 2022 for parking of a commercial vehicle at 7 Kingsway Drive be approved on condition that no more than one commercial vehicle may be parked at the property at any given time. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Tilly. Discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. This is a busy area in a residential zone, and we have the discretion to approve the parking of only one vehicle in those circumstances, and that's basically what we're doing here this evening.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Number 8, Lears Road. Be it so resolved that in accordance with council's discretionary authority under section 10.7 and 10.10.2 of the town's development regulations, application number 1262 received on February 21st, 2022 for a home-based business that is a bookkeeping service at 8 Lears Road be approved. So moved.
Seconder.
Second.
Councillor Connors. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. And just a note, Councillor Hillier and everyone, the town clerk is going to take the voting manually because there is a slowdown with the system, so we can just move forward and they'll have that registered manually.
Will we ever survive it?
No, we're going back to where we were 3 months ago. My God.
Number 5E, Timbergate subdivision. Be it so resolved that the town requests that the Minister of Municipal and Provincial Affairs initiate a process to alter the town's shared boundary with the town of Paradise near Thompson Avenue and Halliburton Street to ensure that the municipal boundary reflects private property ownership in the general area. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Butler. Discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. Evidently, when the boundary between the town of Paradise, town of Conception Bay South was established some years ago, consideration really wasn't taken into account over land ownership. It was feet and inches away from such and such a street without considering who owned the land. So we're in a situation down there now where we've got about 7 or 8 houses on Vinland Road, which is in Paradise, who have a significant portion of their backyards in Conception Bay South. We also have a potential development there, which is predominantly in Conception Bay South, but the backyards of another 7 or 8 potential lots are actually in the town of Paradise. So we're starting this process. It has to go through the provincial government, municipal affairs, and we're starting this process to clean up that boundary over the next little while.
No, that's good. And I'm sure those backyards don't know what town they're in, but the owners would probably like to know that their property is in one or the other for sure. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Number 5F, 30 Flats Road. Be it so resolved that the proposal dated March 16th, 2022 from Stantec Consulting Limited to undertake stage 1, that is site reconnaissance, geological mapping, and a desktop review, geotechnical assessment of slope stability at 30 Flats Road for a quoted price of $4,500 plus HST be approved. Funds available from account number so noted. So moved.
Seconder.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, before we vote on that, I believe I declared conflict in that in the past.
I believe
So I
you.
have a relative who lives on that street.
Okay, we'll remove Gerard, Councillor Tilly for a couple of moments. Okay. Seconder.
Second.
Councillor Connors. Discussion.
Yes, Your Worship. Most of you, I guess, remember that sometime last spring, early summer, there was a landslide in the cliffs abutting Flats Road, and actually went down onto the Manuals River Trail. Investigation of such happenings is in jurisdiction of the province, so the province came in and had a look at it, and in the report that they submitted expressed some concerns about the stability of that cliff and that slope in the area of Flats Road. Unfortunately, we had one resident who was ready to start building, and that resident is at number 30 Flats Road, and has been delayed now for a significant amount of time. So we want to take, with the provincial report, we want to have a look at that area ourselves in some more detail. And really what we're saying here tonight is we're giving that contract to look at this property, look at the stability in this area in detail, and we're giving that contract to Stantec at a price of $4,500.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Your Worship, before the blanket statement, I just want to bring to everyone's attention, as most of anyone who's been following our councils and council meetings and minutes and so on are aware that we're in the process of a rezoning at 73 Cherry Lane. Part of that process is a public hearing, and we have scheduled a public hearing for April 13th. That's next Wednesday, and it will be a virtual meeting via Zoom. I'm not going to give you all the website addresses and the password numbers and so on now, but that will be in an upcoming Shoreline. It will be in our social media, and if people don't find it in those areas, they're certainly free to give the town a call at 834-6500. The planning number is 401, planning extension number 401. And if people want to be part of that virtual public hearing, we certainly encourage them to do so. And as I said, that's next Wednesday, April 13th. I believe it's at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Yep.
Excuse
Thank you,
me,
Councillor.
excuse me, Mayor Ben.
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Before the chair brings forth the blanket recommendation, I declare a conflict on an item on this blanket recommendation as it pertains to property belonging to a family member.
Okay. Okay. So,
If I could, Your Worship, there was also a discussion about private business near my primary place of residence as well.
okay. Yep.
And
Sorry.
same with me, Your Worship.
Okay. We have exactly a quorum left, so I'm hoping we're not going to lose anybody else, so we can move forward with the blanket. Councillor Hillier, it's do it quick.
Mr. Worship, okay, be it so resolved that decisions and recommendations made at the Planning and Development Committee meeting on March 21st, 2022 be accepted as presented. And there's a list noted below. So moved.
We have a seconder, Councillor Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. Okay, we can.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hillier. Lots of work as always in the Planning Committee.
Busy times are good. It's the committee that makes the money, sir. It's the committee that
We're
makes
here
the money.
for. That's what we're here for. All right, are we all back? Yes. Okay, recommendations of the Engineering and Public Works Committee Chair, Councillor Tilley.
Thank you, Worship. And we do have some busy times in the world of public works. Number 6A is a ratification to approval to award wastewater treatment infrastructure protection. That's, of course, as I've noticed on or said on several occasions, work is required to protect the wastewater treatment plant infrastructure along the coastline that has eroded with recent storm events. And so, of course, as everyone knows, the wastewater treatment facility located on Pond Road, it was built in excess of, gosh, almost 40 years ago, I guess. And climate change is probably catching up on us because it's The shoreline erosion is starting to creep in close, and we've certainly got to make some emergency repairs, and we expect that work to start very, very soon. So be it so resolved that approval be given to award wastewater treatment plant infrastructure protection shoreline stabilization to Black Diamond Construction Limited for $696,325, including HST. Funds to be taken from the capital project account. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Barrett, further discussion.
If I could just interject one quick thing, in talking to staff about this, not only is this kind of rebuilding that particular portion, but it'll be more resilient in the future and whatnot. So it'll help, not only addressing some of the current issues, but hopefully will be more sustainable against some of those impacts in the future, which is really useful for that area.
It's important work. Unfortunately, it's expensive work as well. So,
yep.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And 6B is a approval to dispose of some town fleet. Some of this fleet is currently out of service or will be taken out of service when we get our new vehicles for replacement. So be it so resolved that approval be given to dispose of the following fleet. 2 international garbage trucks. They're in excess of 10 years old. And then we have 2 single axle trucks, a Sterling single axle truck, asphalt roller, shed pickup, and various riding mowers. And they're all in excess of, gosh, almost 14 years old. So we definitely got our money's worth out of them. So moved.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Butler. Discussion, any further? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Thank you, Worship. And 6C is the blanket recommendation. But before I do read that, I will let residents know of some programs that are coming up in the very near future. Our bulk waste program, the town has commenced curbside bulk waste collection by appointment. So please contact our Engineering and Public Works Department for scheduling and details. The town is pleased again this year to offer a free drop-off program over several Saturdays throughout the year. All dates and details can be found on the town's website or by contacting Engineering and Public Works Department. And the first dates, I believe, are May 7th, 14th, and 28th. So if you do have any old refuse floating around in your yard or even in the drain outside your yard, feel free to drop it off at our bulk waste program. As well, with garbage collection, residents are reminded that Easter week, there is a change in the garbage collection schedule. So we kindly ask that you look at our social media feeds and the town website to get the changes for that particular week. As Councillor Hillier mentioned before, it's a busy season. And of course, the town continues to work hard in preparing construction projects for I guess, the rest of the year. One being the one that we just passed here a few minutes ago. We have a lot of traffic comping that's going to be done this summer. A lot of street upgrading, paving, sidewalks, water and sewer, traffic light installation, just to name a few. I'm sure I'm probably missing one or two, but so folks, it's going to be a busy construction year in Conception Bay South, and we ask people to be patient. There's going to be traffic slowdowns, but in the end, it makes for better infrastructure for residents of Conception Bay South. So be it so resolved that the recommendation decisions made at the Engineering and Public Works Committee meeting of March 29, 2022 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Moores. Any further discussion? And I just want to take this opportunity for a moment to encourage as many of you out there as possible to get into, if you're not already into it, get into the recycling movement. I encourage you to turn it into a family project, to make it fun. The more recycling you do, the more money we save as a town, and the less pressure on us for other fees and so forth. And it's much cheaper to have recycling go to the center than it is waste. It costs, I think, Councillor Tilley, almost four times as much to have garbage dropped off as it does recycling. So it's in all of our interest to improve our numbers and and recycle more. There's always more that we can do in that regard, but the more we do on the curbside, the cheaper it is for our town to operate. So thank you, Councillor Tilley. Favor? Contrary minded? Carried.
Thank you, Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. Recommendations, Recreation Leisure Services Committee Chair, Councillor Moores.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. I have a blanket statement for tonight, but I did want to mention a couple items that were discussed at our meeting. First of all, we have had some people, ask what's going on with the recreation and cultural master plan. So we just like to give an update that is in.
So, Councillor Moores, I've declared conflict on this matter. So I'm going to have to turn the chair over to Deputy Mayor Goss. And if the town clerk can remove me from the proceedings for a moment.
Okay, I think, is he gone? Yep. So they're just finalizing the draft, and then the final version will be prepared for release, and they're hoping that this will be ready by the end of May. So that's good news. We get to move forward on that. That's all I was going to say about the master plan, Deputy Mayor. So I don't know if we want to let the mayor
I guess we can bring Mayor Bent back in now for the blanket resolution. And there he is, just like that.
All right. So I also wanted to mention the Shield tournament. So we're excited to say that that is going to go ahead, and that the recreation director and the manager of the stadium are working with all the schools to figure out a date that works for everyone and a format for the schedule that's going to work. So it's exciting. I feel a lot of the kids in these tournaments have been, stripped of a lot of that stuff in the last couple of years. So it'd be very exciting for that to go ahead this year. So as soon as we know more, we will let you know. And the other thing is the beach volleyball program. So we were contacted to see if we could help run those programs here in CBS for the summer, which we want to do that the best we can. So we're just going to do some further research to see how we can offer as many programs here in CBS in the summertime for residents. So more information will come on that hopefully at the next meeting. So now I'm just going to do my blanket statement, but sorry, it just froze up on me. I will like to point out too that there's a lot of important dates once again with the recreation. So please take a look at that once that's released. So be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Recreation Leisure Services Committee on March 29th, 2022 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder.
Second.
Councillor Connors. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moores. Recommendations of the Financial Administrative Services Committee Chair, Deputy Mayor Goss.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. And I'm going to bring forward the recommendations of the Financial Administrative Services Committees. The first one is our accounts payable checks. And they are, wait now. That's slow, hang on. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay accounts payable checks totaling $281,769.46 as per the attached report. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Barrett. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
The next item is the manual checks, 8B. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify the payment of manual checks totaling $250,833.80. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hillier. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Item 8C is a capital invoice approval. And let me open that up. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay capital invoices totaling $27,822.39 as per the attached report. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Moores. Discussion?
Those are just some small invoices pertaining to some engineering fees. We'll see more. We'll see this report get bigger as our capital works projects get moving in the very near future.
Yeah.
So
All in
I'm trying.
favor? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Next item 8D is tax and other receivable adjustments. Be it so resolved that approval be given to approve tax and other receivable adjustments as follows, and there's 3 items, small amounts: $533.42, $1,333.33, and $2875.80. So moved.
Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Tilly. Discussion?
These are just some adjustments pertaining to businesses that have closed and are just looking to get things clued up with the town.
Yeah. And I think some of them too have to do with relocation sometimes as well.
Well,
Deputy.
yes, there's one that closed and relocated to another municipality, and 2 are just businesses that have closed up.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Our next item, 8E, is award of RFP 22-01 for the provision of medical services. And is be it so resolved that requests for proposals 22-01 for the provision of medical services for the Conception-based South Fire Department be awarded to Atlantic Offshore Medical Services for a period of 3 years, 2022 to 2024. Funds are available in account as presented. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Morris. Further discussion?
And this is some mandatory testing and medical testing and services that are required by OH&S.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Our next item is 8F, the draft gas tax audit report. Be it so resolved that the ultimate recipient Canada Community Building Fund Agreement Independent Auditor's Report be accepted as presented, and further, be it so resolved that the ultimate recipient Canada Community Building Fund Agreement Independent Auditor's Report be submitted to the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler. Discussion?
This is our gas tax audit report prepared by Grant Thornton, and it just goes through our funds and what we've used and how we've used it. And it's a report that is presented, doing our due diligence, presented to municipal affairs each year.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Our next item, 8G, is with regards to personnel. Our public works supervisor, be it so resolved that George Porter be confirmed in the position of public works supervisor per the employment contract dated April 28th, 2021. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Barrett. Discussion?
This is just this person has been in this position for a year, and so now we make this move this forward as a permanent position.
Okay, excellent. Congratulations to the recipient, and it's good to have experienced people on board for sure. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded? Carried.
Okay, next item 8H was the department report. Be it so resolved.
If I could, Deputy Mayor, there was a conversation we had during the committee that involved a file relating to my employer, and so I'd like to declare a conflict.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And there he was gone.
Here he's gone. Yeah. They're quick at
Okay. I know. Be it so resolved that recommendations and decisions of the Administrative Services Committee meeting held on March 28th, 2022, and the Financial Services Committee meeting held on March 30th, 2022 be accepted as presented. And that's the MNL Symposium 2022, FCM Conference, ATV regulations, ICIP funding, procurement, and departmental reports. So moved.
Seconder.
Second.
Second by Councillor Tilly. Yeah, there was so much business, Deputy Mayor, you had to have 2 days to hold your committees this week. So.
We did. We moved. We reconvened on Wednesday with finance because our administrative meeting was going to be long.
It's going to be long, yeah. Okay, thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded? Carried. And we'll bring Councillor Barrett back, and you have a recommendation from the COW as well.
I added on, this is a recommendation came from our committee of the whole earlier this evening. 8I, it's also pertaining to personnel, and it's a public works supervisor. And be it so resolved that Fred Clark be appointed to the position of public works supervisor as per the terms and conditions of the employment contract. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hillier. All discussion.
This was a posting that for an opening that was internal, and Mr. Clark applied and was interviewed successfully, and he's being awarded the position, and we're just ratifying it here this evening.
Okay, well, congratulations to Mr. Clark. And of course, this is not additional staff. This is a replacing an opening that came up in that department. So that's great that we have Mr. Clark in the job. Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And that is it for finance and administrative services. Thank you,
All right.
Mayor.
Well, your presentation tonight went a lot quicker than last week. So that's good job. A lot of work, a lot of stuff on the agenda for sure to deal with. Recommendations of Economic Development and Tourism, Chair Councillor Christine Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. A couple of recommendations before the blanket one. First recommendation is to do with capacity grant accessibility enhancements, 9A. Be it so resolved that approval be given to enter into a contribution agreement with the Department of Children, Seniors and Social Development for a capacity grant totaling $50,000 to support accessibility enhancements at Topsail Beach.
Seconder.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Goss, discussion.
Yes, Your Worship, just a little background here. The town has been successful in its application for a grant from the Department of Children, Seniors and Social Development, which will see approximately 150 meters of an accessible trail constructed at Topsail Beach to increase access from the parking lot to the playground and service building area. It is to hope that this project will reduce the discrepancy of experience of users with disabilities and enhance experiences for users of all ages and abilities. It is anticipated this work would be completed within the 2020 calendar year. Councillor,
No,
sorry.
2020 was 2 years ago.
2022.
There you go.
That's what's here. I just read it wrong. Council are very grateful of the support from Minister Hatter and the Department of Children, Seniors and Senior Development. A letter of appreciation has been sent to the minister's office. Okay, so moved.
Yeah, I think we've gone through that process, but thank you, Councillor Butler. And
Yes.
It's fantastic to get that upgrade for the Topsail Beach Park. And of course, the Department of Recreation is working on upgrading the playground there. And I'm not sure, I know that's been delayed. COVID has played a big role in that, but they're hoping to get designs done to get something done there over the, I'm not sure if it's going to be this summer, but certainly it's in the works. And to have this accessibility done, to make that area more accessible is fantastic. And we're not turning down free money from the government. I can guarantee you that. So we welcome that money, and that's why we sent the letter of appreciation. So thank you, Councillor Butler. So all in favor, unless there's some other discussion?
Good.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary minded?
Okay, 9B, our next recommendation. Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Be it so,
You're excited for the curling. I know that, right? So we just move right through it.
9B, isn't that right? And that's what I said.
Yep.
Can export contribution agreement, recommendation. Be it so resolved that approval be given to enter into a contribution agreement with Global Affairs for funding through the Can Export Program, community investments related to investment attraction opportunities. So moved.
Seconder.
Second.
Councillor Connors. Discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. Each year, the town seeks funding opportunities for the execution of its goals and objectives. This particular funding program assists Canadian communities' capacity to attract, retain, and expand foreign direct investment. The funding provided for 2022 is cost shared at a 50-50 basis and totals $3,850 to be targeted to lead generation opportunities and outreach with potential investors.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And the last thing is our blanket recommendation. Be it so resolved that the recommendations, decisions made at the Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting of March 29, 2022 be accepted as presented, and they're all listed below there for everyone to see. So moved.
Seconder.
Second.
Councillor Moore's. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. Thank you, Councillor Butler. Are there any other committee reports this evening? I know we have a few committees that are in action, but I'm not sure if they've been in action the last couple of weeks. So does anybody? Yes. Councillor Moores, you usually have your hand up for this one for sure, because you've got a couple of things on the go and that are important. You go ahead.
Yeah, we had a SORI meeting this past week, so that went well. We discussed a lot of the ideas that were put forward and ones that we were hoping to put in place for the upcoming SORI. So it's going to be a fun time for sure. So as long as COVID plays in our favor and that we can still do in-person things, it should be a great time for everyone.
Yes,
More
absolutely.
coming on that.
Yes, no, the Kelligrew soiree, we're getting ramped up for that for sure, coming in early July. Any other reports from committees outside of council? Yes, Councillor Barrett.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. So since the last council meeting we had, I've notified and attended my first meeting that I'm on the municipality's Newfoundland Labrador Youth Committee Caucus. And so they had, my first meeting was Friday, March 25th, and it's a representative of a number of different councillors across the province interested in trying to raise youth awareness and engagement and not just municipal politics, but just the value of municipalities. And so it was a good opportunity for me to learn a bit more about what they're doing. And one project I wanted to bring up, see something that they talked about, was a pilot project their municipalities and is doing with the English School Board this summer, where they're working with 5 municipalities to do what they call tech teams. What it is, it's a model similar to the Green Team with the Conservation Corps. They're having 4 to 5 youth or students work with a municipality to solve any problem that the municipality identifies by using technology. And after that pilot is done, they're going to do an evaluation and whatnot, and see if that has any legs next year. And so certainly interested in hearing more about that. And we can get all the help we can get here in the town in Concession Bay South. And so certainly if that's a success, I think that would be something that our town would be interested in participating next year for sure. So funded completely by the English School District as well by that. So I will keep you all informed.
Perfect. Yes, I'm sure there's some good initiatives will come out of that get people excited for sure, Josh. So thank you for serving on that committee with MNL on behalf of town of Conception Bay South. Does anybody else have any other committee reports that they want to deal with? Okay, so it is April 5th. We're back here in 2 weeks' time, April 19th. So I am not going to forget. I'm going to call for a motion for adjournment.
So
Moved by Councillor Hillier, second by Councillor Connors. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great evening, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.